And welcome to the Follow Through. I'm Pastor Fred, and all week on the Follow Through, which is what this is, we're going to get personal, intentionally personal. We're hitting home with these Bible passages and what God is talking about. And we're going to be talking about being rebellious. Now, I'm not talking about, in terms of like a movie where, you're sort of edgy and, hey, I'm a rebel. Now, I'm talking about actually like doing the wrong things. Like God says to do this and we decide to do the opposite. So the things that we would all say, hey man, that's not right. And so we're going to look at Matthew 5, verse 19. Jesus says this. He says, "Therefore, whoever relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven." And so there's a lot in there, and I want to just kind of focus on really how we are an example to others, especially to those who are maybe younger than us, maybe a little less experienced than us, and maybe they're looking to us for guidance. Maybe you're a mom or a dad, or maybe you're an older brother. You're at high school and there's kids in like the lower grades, and there's people looking up to us, and they're sort of seeing, okay, what's the pattern, especially as believers in Jesus, like so as a Christ follower, people are looking to me and saying, okay, what does that look like to follow Jesus? What does it look like to do God's thing? And so if I begin to relax the commandments, as he's saying, because Jesus, right before this, had said, look, I didn't come to get rid of the law. I came to fulfill it. That's awesome. And that's a huge part of the gospel, that all of the commandments, we break them and we fail, and we need God to forgive us, right? We do what's wrong a lot of times in life, and we need God's forgiveness. And the thing is that how God forgives us is Jesus took all those things, he did them perfectly, and he did them in our place to sort of, he gives it puts it into our account. So when God sees us, he doesn't see our faults, he doesn't see our failings or our rebellion. He sees Jesus and his love. And so knowing that, how should I live? See, that's the point. Do I live that out by being more rebellious? Do I live that out by saying, those laws aren't really that important, right? Adultery, not such a bad thing. And greed, it's okay if you steal. It's okay if you don't go to church. It's okay if you don't, care about people or God, or not even saying it's not important, but like sort of, as he says, relaxing them, saying, it's okay. Like God grades on a curve and he understands. That's not the truth. The commandments that he's talking about were there so that we could flourish, so that we would trust in God, that we would trust in him, not to rain on our parade, not to make life miserable for us, but really the opposite. Because think about this, if you put God first and worship him, and if you, that's going to lead to you caring about other people, right? Because if you look at just the 10 commandments, right, the first bunch of them talk directly about God, not taking his name in vain, remembering the Sabbath and keeping it holy, having no other gods but him, nothing more important than God in your life. And I think if you have all of that, you wouldn't think of hurting the people in your life, and you would champion really the opposite of, going after life in terms of not getting more stuff for me, but how do I help you? See, that's the whole point. Is that everything kind of collapses and falls down. And that's kind of what we're seeing in many parts of our lives and in our world, really throughout history, because we don't take these things seriously. And so God takes them very seriously, again, so much so that Jesus fulfilled all of them in our place and for us, so that we would be free to live lives that bring him glory, lives that preach about how awesome he is. All right, so love to hear from you in the comments about this. It's a pretty tough subject. But I'll be praying and hoping that, again, we live life to the glory of God, again, basking in his forgiveness and love. We'll talk to you next time for the Father.